Hey,
Awesome.
welcome, mate. How are you?
Very well, mate. Thank you. Very well indeed. It's another beautiful day in Wellington, as always.
Always can't beat a good day in Wellington, they say, eh?
That's true. You can't beat it. You just don't get many of
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, so Asa, you reached out on LinkedIn originally from my post a while ago for Playing the Grey. So tell us a little bit about what Playing the Grey is.
So it's basically generating GPS-like data without devices on the players. So and purely from video.
Okay.
So basically, we can track every player through every frame of a video, which generates about 1 million points of data every minute. And then with that, you can kind of get new insights which you couldn't get on your opposition or even on your own team.
Yeah, nice. Okay, awesome. And so how long you guys been in business?
We started up officially just before the Rugby World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been going, so therefore like 12 months pretty much.
Okay. Okay. Oh, nice. And it's obviously using some pretty intense tech, yeah?
Yes, a lot of artificial intelligence. So there's, I think, half a dozen different AI models that we use to process the videos, and then a dozen statistical models after we've got the data to start doing some smart stuff with it.
Okay, awesome. And so pre-COVID, obviously you're relatively new anyway. Did you have some kind of customers you were working with?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, it were kind of going along quite nicely. So we originally did work with New Zealand Rugby. So they were the first client coming up to the World Cup, working with their high performance team to try and do some opposition analysis for the
Mm-hmm.
World Cup. So that was a
Yep.
pretty intense few weeks for us, cranking through the videos.
I bet.
And off the back of that, we had a launch with AWS in Las Vegas, which was
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then that got us in contact with the NFL, Australia Rugby, the NRL, some teams in Premier League teams, some teams in Italy,
Oh,
uh,
nice.
AC Milan. So yeah, it was all going gangbusters, and then the pesky virus kind of knocked sport on its head.
So where were you? What happened? Where in the world were you? Back in New Zealand or were you overseas?
Yeah, no, I was in New Zealand, but we had a lot that was lined up in Italy.
Okay.
And that was the worst possible place we could have business lined up. We've actually got an office over there, and we had some commercial people there. And so yeah, I was here. One of my business partners was over in Italy, and we were kind of seeing it firsthand, just get
Yeah.
lockdown after lockdown. Yeah, it was brutal.
Crazy. Yeah, I know it's been a very interesting year, and obviously we're all still learning
Yep.
how to adjust. So obviously COVID hit, flipped the business on its head probably a
Yeah.
little bit. And so what happened with like the Italy contracts and some of the stuff you had going on over there?
Yeah, so all that pretty much just got put on ice in Italy. I mean, yeah, it was just completely don't talk to us. We've got bigger problems to deal with, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
Um, Rugby, as we kind of know, kind of disappeared pretty much, and it was in a massive hiatus in terms of can the sport survive kind of
Yeah.
discussions.
That's
So we actually turned our attention to American football because the Super Bowl only just happened.
okay.
It was in the
Okay.
off season, so okay, let's go where there might be still some normality. Obviously, little did we know how bad it would turn out in the
Yeah,
US.
yeah, yeah.
But at least for a few months, we could kind of focus on American football. So that's what we did.
And obviously from memory the football season's kicked off, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so they've been in game 3 or something. But then most of our focus was on college football.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
the clients are through our customer over there. The clients are the NFL teams, but they're collecting data on the college teams, and so not all of the colleges have decided to play. So it's still a bit of a mess, and the more people go into quarantine, the less likely some of those teams are to play. So it's all, I mean, it's what we're going to live with, right? That's just
Yeah,
our
yeah, that's right.
pandemic instance.
So technically, moving from a rugby and a football over to an NFL, was there technically a lot of stuff you had to adjust to, or was most of the data stuff okay? It just was putting it in a different frame.
So some of it we could reuse. So like the player tracking piece wasn't too dissimilar. It's still humans running around on a field, pretty much with some white lines. So that wasn't so bad. The big thing that we had to crack was getting 2 cameras. So with
Okay.
rugby and soccer, we were typically dealing with the wide view quite high up on the stadium, whereas American football, we needed to get both views working. So we had to figure out how to synchronize cameras and then synchronize the data and kind of understand when there's an offset, because as much as camera people go, press the button now, there's always a slight offset. So it was kind of messing up with the data. So we had to do a lot of that. And then we had to learn a lot about American football, all of their player positions, when they're facing this way, it was just, there's so much to learn. When you kind of get into the details of a sport, when you go from being a viewer and enjoying the highlights of the Super Bowl into actually generating core data for their analytics, you've got to learn a lot more pretty quickly.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, comparing them to the likes of a rugby, are they much more in depth with some of the stuff they're looking at, or are they pretty similar? Just obviously it's different, the stuff they're looking at.
Yeah.
But is there more data they're looking at? Is it less? Is it?
Yeah, no, there's definitely more. So as an example, in American football, they are so focused on data. They actually have 3 humans watching every play of every game. So it's like multiple people. So the quality of data is one thing and the volume of data is another. They're not just recording what is happening. They're also recording the view of whether they think it was a good thing to do or not. So they actually even analyze the technique of every player for every play. So it's really intense. But if you think about the money that's involved in that sport, for the draft and for scouting and it's just monstrous. So they do collect a lot more data. Whether they're any smarter to use the data is a different question, but they collect a lot more of it than they do in other sports.
Yeah. Okay. And you've had good feedback?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Yeah, so it's really taking what we started in rugby and kind of then applying it to American football, but now helping them go on to the next level. Awesome. So they're kind of doing the observational stuff right now that we're helping them with. But the next thing is to use the machines to start analyzing technique. So if you can imagine a quarterback, when they go from high school into college into NFL, you get all the excitement around the draft, and then they just completely bomb because they just aren't able to translate their technique into the NFL. Whereas we're able to actually analyze how quickly they move their hands, how quickly they take the ball into the pocket, and really begin to get data around that technique. So that's what's on the roadmap, which is super exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. And now that rugby's kind of switched on a little bit more, is some of that business started to pick up for you guys as well?
Yeah, I think it's really got them thinking about, what do we want? What data do we actually need? How are we going to use it? Do we need to watch every European game to see how they're playing, just in case we play an international test against them, which clearly is a bit different now. It has kind of changed their view on what data they want and how they're going to use it. But there's definitely an additional focus on fan engagement. So the broadcasters who are desperately trying to get people back into a pay-per-view kind of environment, they're kind of putting a bit of pressure on the sports to say, how do you make it more exciting? What kind of data can help engage the fans a little bit more? How do we get some new language to make it more exciting? So it has kind of, the conversations have changed, but they've definitely come back. But generally, there's just not as much money flowing around, or if there is, they're kind of hoarding it a bit more because they don't know when the sport could get knocked on its head again. So, it's a lot more conservative now.
And from a consumer angle, obviously you've got some of the broadcasters that are interested in looking at it, because I'm assuming it's more that you're dealing directly with the teams or the organizations at the moment. Have you got a consumer angle that you're looking at?
So I think we want to get to that point. One of the challenges is the cost of getting the data closer to real time.
Okay.
So because of the volume of data we're processing, it takes quite a lot of computing power, which is obviously infinitely available in the cloud, but is very expensive to do it. So we kind of got to figure out where the consumers actually want something. So if it was a delayed, statistically enhanced version of a game, would people still pay to watch it or watch it later on? So we're kind of looking at the use cases with the broadcasters and the stadiums to try and see, is there a business case? Is there a commercial pathway to get that kind of consumer product?
But the flip side of that is the preview stats you may get before a game. So say it's the All Blacks Australia, you might have data on both of those teams and how they've played in the past. So you have a bit of content that you could do from that angle, right?
Yeah, and then we've got to agree with the teams, so with the All Blacks, what bit of data do they want to share before a game, right? Because they're like, well, we don't want you giving away the secret sauce, or
Yes.
I mean, not that we are privy to how they use the data, because that's really down to them to interpret it and turn it into coaching kind of stuff. But they are still quite sensitive around some of the things we may highlight in terms of strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
So they've got to bear that in mind as well. So we can't be entirely neutral and just share all the information. We've got to look after our customers as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And then obviously you've got the betting angle potentially as well, right?
Yeah, in the longer term, that's certainly something that broadcasters are interested in, as well as some of the teams.
Yeah.
I mean, in soccer, which is clearly a massive global industry, a lot of the teams don't make money from the sports betting that happens around their teams.
Yeah.
You've got somebody sat in the stadium kind of tapping away buttons and sending data, but the teams don't make any revenue from it. So that, again, comes down to how quickly can we generate the data in the stadium. So we're competing with a human who's got a pretty good, set of fingers. So that'll get there eventually. But again, I think global sports got more, bigger problems that they're thinking about right now.
Yeah. And so taking all your learnings and what you've done over the last 6 months, I guess, or it's a little bit longer now since COVID hit, do you kind of think it's enabled you to get bigger quicker in a way?
I think the focus we put onto American football because of COVID, definitely. I mean, we probably wouldn't have had so much time and effort or desire
to do that.
The other thing is that the big players that are in the market who we thought were kind of untouchable, COVID has shown some softer sides that we may be able to get some business from. So definitely, I think it's just helped everybody to reset what their expectations are, and also just force some others to either pull out of markets or realize they can't make money from it, and then a startup like us can begin to nibble away at the edges and build a business on it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well done. And so have you, I mean, aside from obviously adding your NFL, is there anything else you reckon you've adjusted to that you'd continue to use moving forward?
I think even internally, like the working practices, that everybody knows kind of there's been increase in productivity, at times working from home. So I think adding that flexibility, which also helps us to believe we could scale with remote workers, for example, whereas previously we may have thought we've got to have everybody in the same office. So that's certainly a big thing. And I think also, we've never met face-to-face likely our big customer in the US, right? And I would just never have thought that was possible pre-COVID. It would have been, okay, let us know when you come into the US and we'll kick off discussions. Now we've been negotiating for a few months and it's just been online. So I think that really helps.
I think that's everywhere, right? Everyone's kind of adjusted to being able to do that. I mean, I think most people travel, or international travel bills are definitely down, but travel bills, even domestically, you don't have to be in person anymore. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, so there's definitely been some pros, as part of our outlook, thanks to COVID. Would we have preferred that sport kept rumbling on? Yeah, maybe, but we'll see. In hindsight, maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, nice. Oh, well, congratulations. It's awesome what you guys are doing. And I think, more and more sports get more analytical like this. You've got the big players, and obviously you need a bit of money in order to do that at the moment. But you will see more and more of the minor sports kind of coming through with the analytical side a lot more as we kind of get more commercial on it and all the rest of it. And then, once you get to that consumer angle, I think that's going to be awesome. Yeah,
but for me, it's kind of exciting to think when we're watching the Olympics or the X Games or whatever sport it is, and you can actually have that kind of analytics. So you're kind of watching it and you understand maybe why things are being judged in the way they are, or it just kind of gives you control over your viewing experience. So I think that could be really exciting. Yeah, that's right. I mean, we get a little bit with the America's Cup, right? Everyone becomes an America's Cup expert as soon as that comes on. Not that I've done anything with yachting in the past, but it's really interesting. Once you have the data, once you can see a bit more of it, you do become an analyst. Well, I think it gives you a bit more a new language to talk about. It's not just look, this happened, but also, oh wow, they're going that fast, or they're making that much effort, or check out his heart rate, or whatever it is. It just gives you more language to engage around, and that's really important for fans, and especially of new sports. Yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but
the age-old question of how quickly Aaron Smith's arms go when he's passing a ball. Can you get to that level?
We can definitely get to that level. We haven't done that yet, but if somebody wants us to find out, we can definitely do it.
It's amazing. That pass is very, very good, and obviously we saw that on the weekend. It was good to see the All Blacks come away with the win.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to see them step up again, as they always do. When they're under a bit of pressure, they always manage to pull it out of the bag. And it was really good to watch.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Asa. So if anyone needs to get in touch with you, just playinthegrey.co.nz or something, is it?
Playinthegrey.com, absolutely, and Asa at playinthegrey.com. So, yeah, nice. We're really keen to talk to anybody interested in sport because there's a lot that can be done with video.
Perfect. And so where'd you get with the football thing is the last question.
So it's still just beginning. So there are, again, some people that are interested in it more broadly. I mean, that's my passion. I'm a football fan through and through. So I know it's, to be able to connect your love and your passion with your job, that's the ultimate for everybody, right?
And Italy's a nice place.
It's not so bad, Yeah.
Nice. So well done. Congratulations on what you guys have achieved. And it's good to see that that COVID's given some positivity to the world.
Oh, absolutely. New Zealand's in a very good position to capitalize on it. So now's our time. So, appreciate your support and, look forward to more New Zealand companies getting your support and showing what we can do.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Nick. Take it easy.
Yes, mate. Chat soon.